Hey guys, my name is Mavi and I've spent the last 14 years in the plastic surgery and beauty industry, working alongside some of the best plastic surgeons in the country. Now I don't work for anybody, so I have unbiased opinions about hundreds of surgeons from across the world, and I can help you achieve the body of your dreams. Hey guys, do I have the show for you today? You are not going to believe who I have on with me today, Miss Tai Brown, international post-op expert. And you guys, we are about to learn a lot. Thank you for being on the show with me, Tai.
Thank you for having me, Mav.
I'm so excited to have you on. I watched your IG and I saw so many new things that you have going on. So I really want you, I know you, but my girls don't know you and I really want them to get to know you. So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, your experience, and how all of that has influenced what you're doing now?
I started out as a massage therapist after I finished college. College was a rough one for me. I got into med school. It wasn't for me. I freaked out. I had already changed my major 8 times. Like, it took me a while to find my calling. I changed my major 8 times. I dropped out of college 3 times. I amassed more than a semester's worth of tuition and parking tickets while I was at the University of Maryland. And so when I was like towards the end, I interned and I had gotten to med school in Georgetown. I was like, hey, y'all, I don't like this. And my parents were like, please don't do this to us. I think they took it personal every time, like, I changed my mind or something didn't work out. I come from a psychotically huge family. My mom is one of 7. My abuela is one of 21. And my bisabuela is one of 24. Nobody went to college. So everyone was like living vicariously through me. And I was like, I don't like any of this stuff. Um, but I was at the end of my degree. I have an undergrad in neuromolecular biomechanics, and I have a master's in legal aspects of healthcare and policy writing. But when I was finishing up my undergrad, got into med school, wasn't my jam. And my parents were like, you should relax. You know, you're a little high strung. Here, just go get a massage. And I did. And I was like, hey, yo, this is dope. I'm going to do this. And so I dropped out of med school. I finished my undergrad, became a massage therapist. And then I started traveling the world, learning different modalities and skills. And I was living in Thailand, in Chiang Mai. I was introduced to post-operative recovery there. I went to go learn Thai massage and was introduced to this beautiful, amazing world. And I fell in love and I haven't looked back since. I came back to America and they didn't have any classes or programs. There wasn't like any education for this. And so I changed my entire career. I morphed my practice. I changed everything to dedicate it to this industry that I fell in love with. And it's just been up from there.
Wonderful. That is an amazing story. I feel like so many of my listeners can resonate with changing your major 8 times because, I mean, who doesn't? Who has not had that?
I was too immature and too young to know what I wanted to do. That's a lot of pressure. Like, all right, so what do you want to do with the rest of your life? Dude, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what I'm having for breakfast. Like, I haven't gotten that far in life yet.
You're so funny. So tell me what you are seeing. I know you've been in the industry for a while, and something that I've noticed in plastic surgery, because in my industry, post op care has changed tremendously over the last 10 years, where it's really revolutionized the industry. What things have been changing. So tell me what you saw or what you've seen that really motivated you to start your institute.
I originally started off with my first company, which was Time Out Massage Studios. And I think my Instagram handle for maybe the last 10 years, if not now, it was longer than that, close to 15 years, was just Time Out Massage. I noticed a lot of things that lacked ethics to me. It lacked compassion. People were more interested in making money instead of making a difference. There wasn't any client advocacy. And then as the need and demand started to grow for education, people were using this like a cash cow and a get over, get rich quick scheme. When they saw an opportunity and they're like, I felt like God spoke to me and I'm going to follow my calling. Baby, God didn't tell you to break the law. He didn't tell you to just go and open up a whole medical practice with no healthcare background whatsoever. I'm sure that you did hear something, but it won't God. And so just seeing so many different things being thrown into the mix like a medical melting pot, the people who absorb the weight of someone's incompetence, malpractice, and negligence were clients. And I got tired of watching clients get hurt, scammed, taken advantage of, and I decided that I wanted to do something about it. And so we started, and the pull was there, the requests were there. A lot of professionals saw what I was doing and was like, hey, can you show me? And I was like, no, I'm still figuring it out myself. It took me 3 years to write my very first class, and during that time frame I did countless research, empirical data. I read medical studies and journals in the middle of the night. Everybody else is sleeping. Like that whole 10,000 hours shooting in the gym, I was putting in my 10,000 hours while people around me, I seen it. They were running circles around me, but I was like, I'm going to focus on running my race. I put together a really good, solid, quality course. The very first one was Intro to Post-op, and then Intro to Body Contouring. And I focused on just perfecting those two classes for the last like 5 years. Through that time, we started seeing less clients intentionally. My shift went from clients to professionals. And then last year, we had our program accredited, and we converted into a university. And so now the Instagram handle shift from Time Out Massage to Tozy University. The school was called Time Out Sculpting Institute, and then the acronym was Tozy. So that's where Tozy University comes from now.
I love to hear that. Congratulations. I'm so proud and happy and excited for you. I know this must be a really exciting journey to be on and to bring other people and educate them and teach them what you've learned along the way. It's amazing because you're a trailblazer.
Oh, this is scary though. Anybody that's looking, if you have a dream, chase it, believe in it, fall in love with it with your entire heart, no matter what it is. Well, as long as it's like legal and you ain't smacking out kids and stuff. But like, chase your dreams. They are worth chasing. They were given to you for a reason. Even if you got a McDonald's, a Wendy's, a Burger King, and they all on the same street, a flower doesn't care about the growth of a flower next to it. It just grows. Like, I'm proud of you. You started your podcast, and like all these people have podcasts, but they're not you, right? You found your lane, you found your niche. But getting to this point, there's no way that you can have this vision and then it's not going to come with like a level of fear or apprehension. You just learn how to be courageous in spite of and move forward full steam ahead. Every idea that pops up in your head isn't always going to be legit. And I've learned to question myself, is it true? Well, how do you know it's true? Like when you start thinking about crazy things, or you're like, well, no one's like paying attention to me, just keep going.
Just keep going. You don't know who's on the sidelines clapping for you and just cheering you on, wishing you the best, wanting you to succeed.
It's been quite the journey and I've been experiencing it. Where are you located at?
I'm in
Where
Houston.
are you? You're in Houston? Okay. So I live in Maryland and we do roller coasters all the time. I think it's in either Busch Gardens or it's King's Dominion, which is in Virginia. And they have this one roller coaster. It's called the Outer Limits, and it's completely in the dark. Whole roller coaster in the dark. You can't see anything. You don't see the twists or the turns. That's how this is. And you learn to just throw your hands up and you figure it out as you go. You don't know what turn is coming up next. If you're about to drop, if you're going up, you're just here locked in for the ride.
Absolutely. You know what? I love something that I can hear motivated you at the beginning, and it's something that really motivated me when I launched, which was my passion to help my ladies, my girls, my post op patients, the women
Yeah.
who are looking for surgeons, the women who want to have surgery but don't really know how to do it safely, or they're scared because they hear all of this stuff in the media about death and that. And plastic surgery has gotten such a bad reputation of like, in society, I mean, of like, oh, you have surgery in your vein, or you don't care about your life, you just care about how you look. And when I launched my show, I did it for them. I did it for my girls. I did it for, I like to tell my girls, I do this for scared you. I do this
Oh.
for scared you, because I want to see you on the other side living your best, so happy and excited with who you are and who you watching them become completely different women after surgery is just something that really motivates me. And I can tell it's something that motivated you at the beginning too.
Yeah, it was. Some people dance, some people sing. This became my ministry, right? This became my platform of how I chose to help. With massage therapy, you don't really ever get into it for the money. Like, when I went to massage school, it was because I discovered what I wanted to do with my time in my life. Like, I know I'm not going to live forever, but I'd rather create some really cool things that will, and some dope memories that can live forever. I love the feeling of helping people. If we were to take post-op aside, I love showing women how to fall in love with themselves again. I love helping them remember their why. I love helping women see that they can put an S on their chest and in their own special way, and living life on their terms. You fall in love with that aspect of this industry. I think there is a lot of courage that women embody because society, there's no right way to be a woman anymore. Either you're not skinny enough, or you're not thick enough, your butt's too flat, or your waist isn't slim enough, your hair's not long enough, or it's too kinky, or it's too straight. Like, there's always something. And once you get to a point and realize that you will never be able to please society, you focus on the only one that I want to please is myself. you know am
Mhm.
I living up to my best standards? Am I my best me? How can I improve upon who I was yesterday? I'm not in competition with anybody except for who I used to be. We don't hear those messages anymore. Everything is always telling us what we're not and what we need to be more of. And I'm like, baby, you are perfect just as you are right now. Let me show you how to fall in love with who you are, so that no matter what enhancements you choose to make, you'll know how to love that version of you as well.
Very, very touching.
It spilled over. Some of my favorite stories. I used to travel to Miami every single month. I retired in 2020 officially, even though I feel like I work more now than I did back then. The first time that I tried to retire, nobody knew who I was. When I went to University of Maryland, my degree was a sports major. It was a sports degree, and all the athletes were in my classes. So when I graduated and went to massage school, if nothing else, University of Maryland, people go pro. They went to the NFL, the NBA, the NHL. I was the homie. And so I'm massaging like where most people want to in their practice. That's where I started. I started at the top. I had some elite clientele. And then when their ladies have babies, or, they get a little older, it was always hush hush. Maybe 15, 20 years ago, when you get plastic surgery, anyone who got work done, they've always had some insight of the massage manipulation would help them heal faster. So I do sports massage on the athletes, and then I would do post-operative treatments on their ladies, but they all had me on contracts. I was on NDAs, I couldn't say anything. So the first time that I wanted to retire, people were like, "Who are you? You do what?" So I started going to Miami every single month for 10 to 12 days. And that's how I truly made a name for myself in this industry. And I don't know if it hits the same now, but that's back when Miami was the Wild Wild West.
Still is. It
And
still is a little bit.
it still is. Man, they was doing like 10, 15 surgeries a day at one surgery center. You got like these surgery centers popping up left and right. I would go down there and bang out a bag, in a weekend or in a week. But my favorite moments were, I remember I had this one girl who, she was like, "Oh, I just wanted to see you on my way home. Like, I changed to make sure I had a layover to see you." And I had an Airbnb. I would go to clients, or sometimes I'd have them come to me. And I remember I opened the door and I was so excited to see her. And then she stopped and she saw what was on the side of the Airbnb, like inside, and she didn't come in. And I was like, "Oh, what's up?" And she had, it was a mirror. And she said, "Ty, I've been avoiding mirrors for the last 6 years." I was like, "What?" She had gained maybe close to 200 pounds after her relationship didn't work out. Her dude left her. She got real big. So she one day just took all the mirrors out of her house. She
Mm.
started working out. She started eating right. And she's like, I had gotten so depressed. Like I hated who I was and how I looked. She's like, I didn't want to see me anymore. And I was like, well, how the hell did you get through the airport? You know, she's like, I avoided the mirrors. And so this was the first time that she would have been seeing herself in the mirror. And I was like, well, you got to come in here. So either like I can hold your hands and you can keep your eyes closed past the mirror. And she's like, no, I think I'm ready. And so I grabbed her hand and we walked in together and she closed her eyes. And then I was like, all right, 1, 2, 3. She opened them up and she's like, this is the first time that I love what I see. And I love
I
what's
got
looking back at me in
chills.
the mirror. Stuff like that. I just love being a part of people's love stories again.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I got chills. I got teary-eyed because it's so, so beautiful. It's something that I talk about all the time. How women after their procedures or even just after weight loss, like I have a lot of bariatric patients who I might lose a lot of weight and they're finally seeing themselves in the mirror without the weight, without the skin, and the transformations that happen not just on the outside but on the inside.
Mm.
Those are the transformations that I'm just like, if you're scared, go for it because you have no idea what's on the other side. It's not just about the out physical appearance. It's about the transformation that you go through post-op with falling in love with yourself again. And something that I always like to say, I say it on my IG all the time, which was like the best weight I have ever lost was the weight of other people's opinions. That really was what made it possible for me to be able to launch my show, to be able to put myself out there, because before I launched my show I was like, who's going to listen to me? I'm not even a surgeon. I'm not a plastic surgeon. Why are they going to want to listen to me? But it turned out that because I had all of the experience of working with the surgeons and knowing how to talk to them and understanding how they talk and their language, and also being in the middle and speaking with the patients and understanding their feelings and their thoughts, the journeys that they're on, it was a perfect combination because I'm able to be that conduit between the patient and the surgeon. And it's just been
That's
so
a fun
amazing.
word. I like the word conduit.
I like it. It makes me feel fancy.
Yeah, no, you are. You wind up becoming a voice for the voiceless. You
I
know,
love that. I love
not everybody knows how to speak up or advocate for themselves, and
I tell them just because they do it like that doesn't mean you have to take it. Just because they
yeah.
say this is how we do it doesn't mean you have to accept it. You can go somewhere else. Somebody else will do it how you like or how you want. So, something I really want to get from you, because my girls, they know about lymphatic massage drainage. We've had 3 episodes really dedicated to talking about it, but I would love for you to talk to my audience, talk to my girls and tell them, what is it? What are the benefits? Why does it work? And I know you wanted to talk about compression therapy. So, why don't you dive into it?
All right, this is the first show I'm gonna rain down on you. In general, since whenever I personally don't think that you can create and scale at the same time. And so for the last, I say 6 to 9 months, I've been very quiet. I've probably been missing off social media because I've been working on creating. You're the very first show that I'm going to be sharing this information with.
Thank
So your
you.
girlies are going to be blessed to be a part of that first crew. I am a huge advocate that lymphatic massage is not good for clients after plastic surgery.
What?
Right? Here's why. Let me explain. Lymphatic massage is an entire modality and I love it. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's perfect for pre op. But after surgery, the techniques that are used, they actually put an unnatural, unhealthy amount of pressure on the lymphatic valves and they cause these valves to break. I don't know if you've looked or noticed, but a lot of times when clients get surgery in America, we don't do what's called longitudinal studies anymore, where you'll do something and then track it for 20 years to see if it's okay before you introduce it to the public. That didn't happen here. The last studies that were done on this industry was in 1983 and it did not include the effects of post-operative treatments. We just started doing research on this industry within the last 2 to 3 years. Well, if you were to look at a client who had surgery 10 to 15 years ago and you look at their ankles, most of their ankles are very chunky. They have started to develop what's called lymphedema. Your lymphatic valves, they keep fluid from flowing back down, right, when gravity pulls on it. But with lymphatic massage and those techniques are pushing this fluid against those valves, they start to break. And the valves are just like, can I curse here?
Yeah. It's a podcast. You can say whatever you want.
I usually have a whole colorful vocabulary until I realized one day I was talking to a pastor and I was like, so you just gonna sit up here and let me drop all these F-bombs? But the fluid starts to backflow and then the valves are like, fuck it, y'all got it. Like, I don't care. It starts to pool around their extremities, but you don't see it till 10 years later. So a short snippet of what I just explained is that those techniques and they're pushing down, they cause your lymphatic system to break. But because nobody paused to study this industry, no one is focusing on the clients, they're focusing on getting money. Most people do not know that. And everybody jumped on this surgery bandwagon because all they cared about was money. And so you had lymphatic schools, you had large schools like Ackles, Norton. You had these huge schools that were like, wait a minute, we want to get in on this too. And they started pushing lymphatic massage because after you get a hip replacement or knee replacement, you would use lymphatic massage to help somebody heal. None of those included tumescent fluid. Tumescent fluid is pumped into every single client when they get surgery, or the volume. Like if you get liposuction, you're getting surgery on maybe 45 to 65% of your body. The lymphatic system in that area gets demolished, right? The weight and the buildup of edema and inflammation, the lymphatic system was never meant to handle it. So to change that and help your clients, they're looking for post-operative treatments. If you go to someone and they're doing lymphatic massage, I guarantee you within 10 years, your ankles are going to start looking big. Your lower extremities are going to start looking big. Why am I gaining weight and I can't lose it, baby? Because it's not that. You now have developed a maybe mild form of lymphedema, and there's no cure for it. We started an organization called CSL Therapy to regulate the treatments that clients get after surgery. And that is one of the biggest things that we try to hammer in is lymphatic massage is not appropriate after plastic surgery until clients are at least 3 months post-op. By then, the lymphatic system has started to rebuild and it can handle the pressures of that extra weight and fluid in a way that they can't at 1, 2, and 3 weeks post-op. Post-operative techniques, it's called post-op endur, INDUR. They go in a different direction. They move against the pull of gravity and it doesn't put too much weight on those valves and you don't have to worry about getting sick in the future.
So, okay, I have so many questions. So many questions. You're saying they can get massages, but different types. It's a different type of massage, right?
Yes.
So it's post-op massage. My girls are looking for somebody to have their massage because their surgeon is telling them to get massages. They have to look for specifically a post-op endur technique.
INDUR. They're looking for a post-op endur provider, a post-op endur specialist.
How would they find one? How are they going to find them?
Well, there's 2 websites. The tozymethod.com, at the bottom of it, there is a list of providers and professionals that no longer use, and there's other techniques. The biggest thing is that you want to make sure your techniques and your massage strokes are going upwards. MLD and lymphatic massage does not do that. They're going to move it towards the closest lymph node. But most lymph nodes are already overwhelmed and congested before surgery. So if you want to get lymphatic massages and you want to have a better outcome, get them before surgery and then afterwards. Guadalupe Becker, she is THT Contour. She's based out of California. She trains. Our school, we train. There's a school out of Canada. She trains Bodyful. But there's a lot of different programs that you can look to see, okay, where did you ask your therapist, where did you go to school? You can start there. Who trained you? Inside of our Facebook group, we have over 10,000 people in that group. It's Time Out Post-Op Corner, and it's TAIME, out Post-Op Corner. There's a whole list of professionals who do not move their strokes down because it puts too much pressure on those valves. It is what it is. Like I see the things that I want to do and I want to create, and that takes time. So in the future, they'll be able to go to CSL Therapy Organization and be able to check to see what providers, where the providers got trained at. I'm happy to share that in the state of Maryland, on February 9th, a bill, House Bill 1327, was accepted, the proposal, and we go to court to testify on March 12th to start having a requirement to be able to offer these services. You're going to need to be licensed. You're going to have to go to an accredited school. You're going to have to sit down and take an exam. So you're not just having to flex online and people are like, oh, I like her. She's funny. I'm going to go get my post-op massages from her. Baby, people Photoshop, right? You shouldn't be basing your healthcare and your body and your results on stuff like that. But those type of things take time. And so staying tapped into communities like the one that you've created for your girls, asking better questions, asking your post-op provider who trained you, what direction are my strokes going to be going in? And then if nothing else, because you may find somebody who isn't trained, they don't know, introduce them to our platforms and then just ask them to change the direction of their strokes. If they don't know anything else and they're like, this is what I was taught, the least you can, even though this is our canvas, it's still your body. Ask them to please make all of my strokes go upwards. And that is, as we're growing to where we want to be, how they can protect themselves.
I love that. I like that tip because I can already like sense what my girls are thinking. They're like, "What? I can't have a massage, or I've been getting them wrong, or I got the wrong massages, and now I'm gonna have to deal with this in 10 years." I don't want you guys to start freaking out and start getting all stressed out. So this is very helpful because they have a tool that they can use if they're in the middle of sessions, if they're about to have surgery or they've already booked with somebody and paid. All of the,
Right.
that's very common situation for, I'm sure, my listeners, where they've already paid for somebody who they've researched and found, or they're in the middle of a package, or they're about to have surgery and they don't know what they're supposed to do. So
Or if they live somewhere and then the only person that's there does lymphatic massage, just change the direction of the strokes. Can I share a tip for if someone has already, if they're done, let's say they're 6 months post-op or a year post-op, and they're like, damn, my massage strokes did go down. I don't think anyone tells people soon enough, but when you decide to get any type of surgery, but specifically plastic surgery, it's a lifetime commitment to your health, right? Like surgery is not some get skinny, get it tight, quick scheme. You are committing to a lifestyle shift, a lifestyle change. You can't go back to living how you were living before, or you will be delivered back to your pre-surgery body and it'll be 10 times worse because your lymphatic system is forever altered. It is never going back to how it was before. And so you have to make conscious decisions to be better and live better for yourself. You have to decrease your salt intake. The average American consumes between 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams of sodium per day.
that's ridiculous.
Right after surgery, you should have between 1,000 to 1,500. And then where you mainstream and coast at should be no more than 2,000 milligrams of sodium per day. And just for a piece of reference, a can of soup is about 10 ounces. In that 10 ounces, the can is 2.5 servings, and each serving is 480 milligrams of sodium. One can of soup is 1,200 milligrams of sodium, just the soup. So Gatorade is usually about 400 to 600 milligrams of sodium. And then if you have some crackers, baby, you have bust your sodium budget for like 2 days. You should do nothing but eat air, grass, and water for 2 days straight. So changing your lifestyle, decreasing things that cause you to get inflamed, GMOs, processed foods. And I'm not saying that you can't have these things, but definitely minimizing that intake will offset any detriment that comes along with surgery, damaging the lymphatic system, and then any extra pressure that the downward strokes may have created or added to.
You know what? I'm remembering a conversation that I had with the Faja doctor. We were actually on an episode. I was talking about how after my surgery, I had to change a lot of my eating habits because I had to stop drinking. I lowered my salt intake because I would notice like my hands would get swollen when I would drink alcohol. My hands were just so swollen. I would just feel so swollen. And she was like, "Hey, me too." And we even said it on this episode. I think we said it. It might have been cut out. And it was, well, there's been a lot of damage to our lymphatic system with the liposuction. So we're like, I wonder if that has something to do with it. And now I'm like, yeah, it does have something to do with it. No wonder I had to stop drinking.
Absolutely. Youth is wasted on a young man. Like, I did some of the most wild, ridiculous stuff in my 20s. I couldn't get away with that now. Like, party until 2 a.m. What? By like 11, I need a nap. I'm
I'm
sleepy.
in bed by 9.
I get cranky past 11. And so, like, not getting enough sleep, once you learn the damage that you do to your body during the day or during surgery, the mass amount of it is adjusted, corrected, and fixed when you go to sleep, right? So, sleep is crazy important. Getting enough water to flush out that cellular waste from your body is important. Having a healthy liver, and the liquor, it congests, clogs your liver, and decreases the ability of it to do its job. So that's why we're like, hey, just don't drink. I used to be super 420 friendly, and even if marijuana isn't bad for you, like nicotine is, but your red blood cells, they're like, when you go on a roller coaster and it stops in the front, everybody got to get on inside the little cars. That red blood cell is like the little car. And if it can fit 4 people, the red blood cell can fit 4 iron cells, and that helps you heal. It can fit protein. Well, they can't get in there if you have marijuana sitting there. It decreases your oxygen carrying capacity. So you don't get as much oxygen to your cells. You literally have to change your lifestyle because your lymphatic system got damaged. And what I find hilarious is no one knows what the lymphatic system is until you go and get surgery. You're like, tell me more.
That's a little crash course for our listeners who don't have any idea of what the lymphatic system is or how it works, what it does, what it's supposed to do.
So the lymphatic system is like the janitor of the body, right? And it's no matter what you do, this janitor never gets upset at you. It always cleans up whatever wild ridiculousness you choose throughout the day. And your roller coaster is the cardiovascular system. And where I live in Maryland, at least once a year, someone done fell off the roller coaster down the street at Six Flags. Well, inside your body, anytime stuff falls off the roller coaster, the janitor comes along and sweeps it up and dumps it back into the cardiovascular system, and the roller coaster keeps going. The lymphatic system is very thin, fragile system that wraps itself around different orifices and organs in the body. And when you get plastic surgery, it gets demolished, right? So you don't have a janitor. What would happen if you didn't have somebody cleaning up behind you on a regular basis, right? Or let's say just your house. You know how you put your trash out on the curb once or twice a week? What would happen to the neighborhood if the trash man was like, "Yo, y'all can kiss my ass. I'm done.
I'm not coming again.
I'm done here. Y'all don't pay me enough. I'm not coming." And it didn't come for like 2 months straight. How gross would your neighborhood get? How gross would your house start to get? Or another analogy I use is, let's say you get in a car accident and you don't die, but you're like a temporary quadriplegic. And every time you poop and you pee, you ring the little bell, and then the nurse comes, they turn you over, they clean you up, and they move the sheets out the way, right? They put new fresh sheets down. What would happen if you pooped and you peed and you ring the little bell and nobody came? that waste would start to eat at your skin. You develop ulcers and blisters. It is toxic. Just like when we eat, nom, 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 and the food goes to our extremities and we poop and pee out the waste that we don't need, your cells do the same thing. So in between stuff falling off the cardiovascular roller coaster and then the waste materials that are just building up in your body, your lymphatic system comes and moves it all out the way for you so you can continue to have good, free, clean, flowing circulation. That thing gets trashed when you get surgery, and it takes about 3 months for it to grow back. It does grow back, but then it doesn't grow back perfectly either. Have you ever had any of your girls talk about like swell health?
Yeah, we talk about swell health.
Swell health is because of the damage that's done to the lymphatic system. And when it reconnects back, sometimes it, like if this was, a clear connection, it doesn't have that clear connection and it'll misconnect or it'll be like this, right? And so instead of stuff going from here to here, some of it falls out down here. And you start to swell up because of that misconnection when your body rebuilds it.
Wow, that is so interesting. I'm learning so much, which you would think like we really have not talked about a lot of this stuff in the industry for a very long time. In the episode I was recording yesterday, we were talking about how not even that long ago, surgeons would be like, don't touch it at all. Don't massage, don't like leave it alone for 3 months. We'll address it after that. And a lot of board certified plastic surgeons, they're still on that boat of like, okay, you can have massages, but after 3 weeks, only in the areas that had liposuction, only here, only there. And now I'm like, okay, there's a lot to learn still.
Would you, if your car breaks down, would you take it to the guy that like buffs it and cleans it and makes it really nice? Or would you take it to a mechanic, the person that knows, right? And then if you need a new engine, you wouldn't take your car to someone who does really good brakes and rotors. You take it to the person who specializes in repairing your engine. I love me some surgeons. I can sit here and talk weird, nerdy science stuff with them all day long. Surgeons don't know post-op. They know surgery. And I'm going to take it a step further, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but if I do, then I'm sorry in advance. But I've had my lawyer study 37 residency programs in America, and not one of them has more than 15 hours of post-operative or lymphatic training in a 10-year residency. That is equal to about 2 weeks. So in 10 years, y'all are learning about 2 weeks worth of post-op and lymphatics. Baby, you were not qualified to be given the information that you were tossing out. You were ear hustling off of someone else and regurgitating what you heard along the way. And a lot of that is based off of misinformation from whoever they trusted that told it to them at the time, but it's not accurate. But because the letters behind their name are super cool and fun and sparkly, and it's sweeter than the letters behind our names, that misinformation winds up becoming publicly accepted, and it's incorrect. When we have these science-based conversations with people, then there's a shift in the energy that's wind up being, told to clients, but no one focused on clients in the last 20 years of this industry. They focused on the surgery, they focused on themselves, they focused on the marketing, they focused on the money. Nobody was looking out for the best interest of the people who are getting this. And if I take it even a step further, most of it are minority females, which are the most disregarded in healthcare already. And that's with medically necessary surgery. We're not even talking about, I just want my body back and I dedicated my life to my children and I just want to do something for me. So I'm going to go get surgery. Ain't nobody think about us.
You know what? I think it's interesting that you went and looked at the residency programs that these surgeons go through. And I think there's a large problem in what the surgeons or what doctors are learning, even when it comes down to nutrition and mental health, which is something that we like with this show. I have learned more about women's mental health through post-op than I ever did in the 14 years that I was working in the offices, talking to them, ever seeing them for post-op. And it's because they don't tell us, they wouldn't tell us in the office, hey, I'm feeling really sad, or I'm feeling really depressed, or I can't look at myself in the mirror. They're not telling us that in the office. But out here, when I do my discovery calls and I'm talking to women from all across the world, all across the country, and I'm hearing they're being 100% candid, open with me, telling me really how they're struggling. I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with this. And it made me realize, like, wow, there's so much in the post op process that we are not paying attention to, or we have not paid attention to over the course of cosmetic surgery. There are some people that have paid a little bit of attention to it, but in the offices, in the practices, the surgeons are busy exactly with what you said, marketing, staff, making sure they're keeping their credentials up to date, making sure they're keeping their patients safe through the surgery, but then that's it.
What CSL therapy focuses on is pre, peri, and post operative care. You will get better instructions when you get a tattoo than you get your body done or you get any type of surgery. But I want to pause and stress it's not just elective surgery. We changed our platform with CSL therapy because we discovered there's no American standards for surgical care. You have CNA care, but outside of the first, 24, 48 hours of how to care for a client, how to wash your hands, how to put on gloves, who's taking care of the client themselves, right? And educating them on this is how you prepare for your surgery. This is how you need to eat. This is how you're going to lose weight healthily. This is how you're going to detox your body, your system. You're going to decongest your liver instead of trying to lose 20 pounds in 12 days because your surgery's coming up and now you're starving yourself. Your electrolytes are off, your minerals are off. There's no education around that. There's no perioperative education of, all right, this is what you need to do the day before your surgery or the first week after. All of that is missing because it's curative. And inside of American medicine, I love traveling. Cuba has some of the best healthcare in the world. I've studied in the DR, I've studied in London, I lived in Thailand, and you will get better medical care outside of America because we focus on palliative. We don't focus on preventative care. We don't focus on curative medicine. Surgeons aren't taught nutrition because if you teach somebody that they need to get apples and oranges, would they even need surgery? Would they need the vitamins? Would they need these pharmaceuticals? If I tell you that, all right, your back is hurting and you can pay for this pill over here or you can drink some water, I don't get paid off for telling you to drink water. I get paid off for you taking these pills and I get a kickback from it. There's so much corruption in American healthcare, and the people that we look at and we trust the most, I'm not saying they're bad, but they aren't conditioned to have a client's natural best interest in mind. And that's just how the system is set up. And so what you're doing is a part of doing God's work. You're bringing people to help bring light in dark spaces for them to heal themselves because you're not going to get it through American medicine. And I don't even fault them. Baby, it's the game. You got to learn how to play or you're going to get chewed up.
It's unfortunate for our patients who are really walking in blindly, for the women who are walking in with high hopes and not really understanding all the ins and outs of surgery, how to prepare before and going through the recovery after. I hear a lot from my clients. They're like, I want to have surgery, but I'm so scared of the recovery. I'm so scared of how it's going to be during post-op. And that stops a lot of women. And I feel like if we were more open about this is what you can expect, this is really how it can be, it would kind of lift the veil on all of this fear that they have of recovering from surgery.
That veil is there. And I was around in times where clients were getting back alley butt shots and biopolymer injections because they couldn't afford the original prices associated with BBLs. Or then you had people doing things in the shadows because They didn't want society's judgments raining down on them about what they chose to do with their bodies, even though there's safer options now. And a lot of clients learn this stuff on the way as they go. When I started seeing clients hopping into the post-op industry, I low-key won't fully mad at them because they had to do so much research. They really did feel like they were an expert, right? And so I either see, and it's no in between, either the clients who don't know enough or the clients who know too much and now they're entitled and emboldened. But there should be some happy medium. Like in between my braids right now, my hair is some highlighter color blue. And when I went to my hairstylist and I was like, all right, sis, this is how I want to look. I wasn't in the corner with her mixing up the color, pouring in the chemicals to get my hair to look this way. I went in and booked the look. I said, this is how I want to look. And I sat down and I let the professional take care of me. Our clients have in this industry, American healthcare has been around for maybe 200-300 years. World healthcare has been around since the beginning of humanity. This right here, this new, right? In the last 15 years, it hasn't been around long enough to develop the safe spaces that clients need for them to be able to sit down and just book the look. And by you providing avenues like this, it creates an opportunity for us to have a solid foundation to grow so those that are coming after us will not have to go through the hard experiences, the neglect, the disrespect, or the I trusted them. Honey, I'm sorry. You shouldn't have. No one's going to look out for. We're still living in times where no one's going to look out for you but you.
You know, when I first started this show, one of the things that really motivated me and lit a fire under my butt was the unethical practices, that marketing practices that my women, my Latin women, my non-English speaking women were falling for, because they were ending up in chop shops. They were ending up in places, and not just here in the US, but in Mexico at the border. They were getting,
Tijuana's wild.
it's ridiculous. And it was part of what really motivated me, because I've always, since I can remember, I've always had this sense of like, I want to defend, like, don't fuck with my people. Like, leave my girls. Like, y'all do not take advantage of them. That's not fair, because they don't understand. Maybe they don't understand that what you're doing is unethical and you really are practicing out of your scope. They just think they're walking into a place and they're going to be having the result that they see in the picture, fully trusting, fully believing in the person in front of them. And that was something that really, really still to this day motivates me, because I thought, how can I help them? How can I stop this? And the only thing that came to mind was, I have I have to have them find me before they find them. Like, how can I make it so they can find me first, and they learn this is what I should be looking out for before they fall for these deceptive practices, unethical marketing techniques, and just unethical practices in general, just period. Speaking for the women and the men who don't have loud voices is something that is very important to me.
My heart breaks. I've cried more tears than anybody will ever be able to count for this industry. Not because of this industry. Literally, I felt like I would purge for this industry. And I hope that some of them from my eyes and mouth to God's ears would reach, because I was like, oh, change has got to come. And then there's been so many times where I've wanted to walk away. I tried to walk away from this industry. And I'm like, God, I don't want it no more. Here, give it to somebody else. And then he would throw it back to me, but with like sparkles on it. It takes a special type of love, to be able to stay. Like, it doesn't matter how you get here. This industry is rough. It's a lot. It takes a toll on you. And one of the biggest lessons that I had to swallow a pill on, and I'm still struggling to sit with it, is I'm not going to be able to help everyone. I'm not going to be able to reach everyone. We've identified 4 main stakeholders in this industry. And from clients, personal, professional, like, I just don't have the capacity to reach everybody. And then what does it take out of you? this industry drains me a lot. And sometimes I got to step away. And between me balancing my faith and my ego, there's just some things that I'm not going to be able to take on. And my heart hurts for those people. And I'm like, God, please protect those that I won't be able to reach. I'm tired. I need a break. I'm exhausted. I'm spent. In those times when you got to take a step back and you can't pour from an empty cup, that there's still those out there who need you. And so creating digital products and resources that can provide a voice when you aren't able to be there fighting on the front lines with and for them allows you to reach more people. I don't know what people did before social media, but it's how we've been able to share and spread our messages more and further. During the pandemic, I think I reached more people during the pandemic than any other time. I went live every day, Monday through Thursday, and just gave out tons of free information. I created Faha University on YouTube, and that's still up. But I remember connecting with people in Spain. In Spain, they still tell clients, hey, don't get massages for 3 months. What? And just a side note, I'm gonna get back to the little tear-jerking story I was just telling. That whole when surgeons and professionals, they give these wild timelines, is because of liability. If they were like, oh yeah, you can get a massage at day 3, and then you wind up going to someone who didn't know any better, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna blame the professionals. Surgeons is like, I ain't trying to get sued. So they'll give you a safe answer instead of an accurate answer. And there was a point in time, if you go on Real Self, I appreciate that Real Self is dated. And it will have the timestamp of when a surgeon said that. So I'll go back down, an old boy in 2007 is like, yeah, no, I hate massages. They're stupid. Don't get any. And now in 2024, they're like, you can get a couple deep tissue massages. That's a little bit better, but you still failing, my guy. If before you was failing with a 33%, now you failing with a 65%, that's still failing. That's not the right answer. But people will give answers because they literally don't know versus them saying, I don't know, or if you want to, or maybe let me go figure out and I'll get back to you. When the world shut down, I'd never experienced anything like that before in my life. I had people hit me up I had consultations from Australia, Kenya, New Zealand, Russia. People from around the world were tapping into this American education and resources that we're helping to create to figure out, what am I doing? And I was like, if it's not just happening here, why is this not being addressed if it's now a worldwide problem? How do we have the same problem amongst the same demographics in so many different areas, and no one that is on the up and up is looking back to create anything about or for this? I got tossed into this industry because I had a client who trusted me. She knew I knew, this different type of stuff. And I got tired of repeating myself, right? This is back when Instagram had 15-second videos and Vines were still a thing.
Vine, shout out to Vine.
Honey, if I'm being honest, I was looking for somebody else's shit to steal. I was like, all right, this is what you need to be doing from week 1 to week 8. And this was like maybe 10 years ago. I was just scouring the internet, trying to find the information just to put on a chart to give to my clients. I couldn't find it because it didn't exist. People would take out of the industry without putting anything back in because there's no money in it. There's curing and fixing people's problems is low level stuff. Scamming and getting you a bag, that's high end stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the clients are the one that absorbs the decisions of the professionals that they trust. So staying close, if you come into this industry, if you want to come into this industry, if you're already in the industry, find you a community that you can ask really good questions and get really good answers from, and use a little common sense. Don't let the glitz and the glamour fool you. People will say all the right things because that's what con artists are supposed to do. Charlatans get real good at making things look amazing and then have nothing of substance to back it up.
I love that word, charlatans.
We got our 2 words for them.
So I have had you on for a little bit longer than usual with this episode. I've been making 30-minute episodes, but the conversation has been so amazing. It's just how can we how do we even stop right now? Thank you so much for sharing all of the information that you've shared with us. And from the bottom of my heart, I really thank you for being at the forefront and caring about the patients and about the longevity of the things that we're doing right now, the long-term effects of what's to happen. And after this, I have something really I want to share with you that I've been working on because of everything that I was learning through this journey about, like I was saying, I was hearing the same complaint no matter if the patient paid $200,000 for their surgery or they paid $10,000 for their surgery. I was hearing the same complaint over and over and over again. They don't feel supported during recovery. They don't feel like they are having the best recovery because they don't have support. They don't know, what am I supposed to be doing? How do I get through this? How can I make this better? So that's been a passion of mine over the last few years, to really try to help them as much as possible. And I've been developing on the back end a lot of programs, and I really want to share them with you. My girls already know, they know I talk about it all the time. So before I let you go, Ty, I always like to ask this. If you were talking to your best friend or your sister and she's about to embark on her plastic surgery journey, what is one tip that you would give her?
Find your post-operative provider as soon as you put down the deposit for your surgery. It takes some time to figure out, because you're going to spend more time with them than you're going to spend with your surgeon.
I love it. That's a really great tip. Do you have any tips on where they can go look?
They can come to Time Out Post-Op Corner on Facebook. They can send us a DM on Tozy University and say, hey, I was listening to the Big Butt Snow Lie podcast, and I found you there, and I'd like some help on my journey. We offer consultations. They can go to our website at the very bottom, the Tozy Method, THETOSI method.com. There's a directory of everyone we've trained, and then stay tapped into CSL or csltherapy.org, and that's going to be the growing platform over the next few years. If you, somebody you know, somebody you care about is getting surgery, the information and research, you can do quality without misinformation on that platform.
I love it. Thank you so much for being on the show, Ty. I really
Thanks for having
appreciate you,
me.
and I hope to see you again soon.